Now to Russia, where a court has outlawed organizations founded by jailed opposition leader Alexei Navalny, declaring them to be extremist. The ruling bars people associated with the groups from running for public office, dashing the hopes of Navalny's allies of seeking seats in a parliamentary election in September. Activists who have worked with the organizations and anyone who donates to them or shares the group's materials could be prosecuted and go to prison. Well, for more on the verdict, let's cross over to our Moscow correspondent, Emily Sherwin. Emily, this sounds like a far-reaching decision. Tell us more.
Well, this decision was pretty widely expected even before the court decided to declare these organizations extremist. The network of Navalny's offices had already dissolved. The prosecutor's office here had actually said that they would not be able to work anymore, even in anticipation of the court's verdict. The trial itself took place behind closed doors. There seemed to be a lot of material to get through. The trial took 12 and a half hours, but the lawyers defending Navalny's organization said that it seemed like the court was in a rush to just get the decision out. Apparently, the court rejected all the appeals that the defense lawyers made and tried to bring into proceedings, almost as if they were rushing through. There were hardly any breaks, apparently. And what this means now is that Navalny's organizations will not be able to disseminate any information. No one associated with them will be able to take part in upcoming elections. Anyone who worked for Navalny's organizations or was involved with them could face up to 6 years in jail. And even, as you said, anyone who posts information from Navalny's organizations or has posted in the past could face fines or up to 15 days in jail.
I want to talk more about that, but first let's hear this reaction from one of the defense lawyers.
Let me remind you again that the Anti-Corruption Foundation isn't the organization, it's the people. And how can one immediately stop these people's activities is not quite clear to me. I think it's impossible.
And that was one of the anti-corruption organization's defense lawyers. Emily, he was sounding defiant, but this law, this decision, effectively does hamstring the Russian opposition ahead of fall elections, doesn't it?
Well, it certainly hamstrings anyone associated with Alexei Navalny's organizations. They won't be able to run in the upcoming elections now. And it also isn't quite clear how Navalny's organizations or anyone associated with him will kind of organize their work going forward. Even when the prosecutor's office asked for these three organizations to be declared extremist, Navalny's allies said, we will continue our work. Even if we don't have an office, that all doesn't matter. But it's kind of not clear how, first of all, organizationally, but I think the biggest hurdle that Navalny's allies face now is people's growing fear, because this extremism label means that if you're associated with the organization or were associated with it, you could face real consequences. And for example, Navalny has been calling for people to register for what he calls smart voting, which means basically Navalny's allies will send you the candidate who in the vote could most likely beat the ruling United Russia Party in your area. And, people could be afraid to even register there. For example, there was a case recently where a database of Navalny's supporters was actually leaked. And I think that fear now will be growing going forward. So it's hard to know how many people will be likely to take that risk.
DW's correspondent in Moscow there, Emily Sherwin, thank you so much.